Greg Monroe is killing it right now since Josh Smith was removed, and he's going to get paid. They got to pay this guy.
Well, he doesn't have to get paid.
He's got to get paid. But I'm telling you, the Pistons need to give Greg Monroe the max contract. That's an overpay. I'll admit it. That's overpaying for him. He's not a max guy. But you got to show him the money. You got to pay him, and I'll tell you why. He is improving. He's 24 years old. He's playing his best basketball since Josh Smith was let go. 16 and 12. 16 points, 12 rebounds. He's a better passer this year than he's been, an underrated passer. His defense has improved. He's relentless on both sides of the glass. Drummond coasts. I mean, there's no way to put it. Andre Drummond coasts.
He goes in and out of games. 3
of his last 5 games, he's had less than 10 boards.
I think, yeah, he told me yesterday, when he only ends up with 6 rebounds, like, that's an issue. Like, this guy is a mammoth on the court, and when he only has 6 rebounds, like, there's no effort being applied.
It's an effort thing. I get he's 21. He's got a giant upside. Greg Monroe is showing you that he can be a top big man on a team. He's their best player this season. He's been the best option. He brings you offense every night. And you look at him and say, what would happen if he left and he walks at the end of the year? If Greg Monroe leaves and doesn't get that max offer from the Pistons, which they're going to have to. They have to pay more than everybody else because it's not a destination in the NBA. It's not a glamour free agent spot. You know that. You know that's your formula as the Pistons. You have to show him the money. You have to pay him. Throw him bags of cash because he's not going to want to stay here if he gets other offers with more money or comparable money, so you give him the max. He's not a max player. I'll be the first to tell you. But you have to pay him because if he leaves, you
fall into the trap.
You fall back down. You have Drummond who coasts. You have Jennings, who we liked, but is coming off of an injury. The team is worse next year without Greg Monroe. Are you building up or are you leveling down? You have to have plans where Greg Monroe is in them. Listen, the max is 25% of the cap. So for people out there, you have to pay him a quarter of your salary cap a season. For him,
is it for? I think it's 20% for him, right?
It's 25.
You need to be in the league 10 plus years for 25, right?
If you're in the league 0 to 6 years, it's 25%. If you're in the league 7 or more, it's 30%. Okay. So he would fall into that category where he's 25% of the cap. You have to bring him in. And I would almost use this as a pitch now for smaller cities like Detroit, smaller glamour destinations, cities that don't
say top 15 mark, top 10 market.
But in the NBA, not a free agent destination. This is my pitch. You see the J.R. Smith stuff? J.R.
Who are you pitching to right now?
Greg Monroe, okay. Free agents to come to the Pistons. This is the pitch everybody should be using.
This includes Ndamukong Suh too, right?
Right, sure. Okay. Have you seen J.R. Smith, the story with J.R. Smith?
I have not. I tend to not listen to anything J.R. Smith.
Well, that's probably smart. But he goes to Cleveland, and he's quoted as saying he's playing better basketball because there's, quote, nothing to do here except get better at basketball.
So that's your pitch.
That's my pitch. Do you want to be a better basketball player? Don't go where there's fun. Go into the bleak, cold Midwest and work on basketball. That's part of my pitch. Stan Van Gundy, embrace this guy. You've got to be creative. You can't compete with the glitz. You can't compete with South Beach and L.A. And you have to say, guess what? There's nothing to do here except get better at basketball. That's my pitch. You got to pay Greg Monroe, overpay him, give him the max.
Might as well go to Milwaukee.
That should be the pitch for Milwaukee, too.
That should be the pitch for half the cities across America.
That's what I'm saying. You got to be creative. Nobody's using these pitches. I would use J.R. Smith's stuff right there is a clear pitch.
Boy, if you really want to get good, go down to Grand Rapids and play for the Drive.
You have to have something to pitch. I thought the J.R. Smith stuff was hilarious.
So you're just reaching for stuff to pitch to Greg Monroe here.
I want Monroe back. He's 24 years old.
All right, I have a couple of questions.
Big. He's a great rebounder. He's the best player on the team.
No, he is. I understand that he's really polished. I have a question, though. So what do you do with Andre Drummond? Do you give him max money, too?
Let's see him earn it. You got a couple years.
I think he's earned it, right?
Well, let's see. Is he going to coast? Is he going to float? You're going to end up paying him, yes, but you have a couple years before you have to pay Drummond. This is only his 3rd year. He has one more after this year.
Drummond's your building block, right?
When he plays.
Oh, my gosh.
Seriously, it's not unfair to call out his effort.
No,
I know David
true.
Mayo, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago, tweeted back, like, welcome back Andre Drummond's energy.
Yes.
It just disappears.
Yes. Well, so you're maxing both those guys and turning into the Memphis Grizzlies?
Why not? You have a problem with the Memphis Grizzlies, one of the favorites in the Western Conference right now?
I don't. I don't think they're going to win it. But so you have those two, and you have Brandon Jennings still on board.
Right, for another year.
And that's your core.
Sure.
With no wings.
In a
league that you have to have a wing to win.
You didn't see KCP? Kid can play last night?
Kid can't play. Kid cannot play.